Hey, Laurie. Welcome to episode 4. I'm Kate the Great. This is the Paper Jam Podcast, an internet broadcast. Now, what I want to talk about, here comes the dog. What I want to talk about this episode is religion. First of many. I love religion. Sometimes people ask me, what's your favorite historical, time period? What's your favorite event or era in history to study? I don't have. I do prefer my shit more modern, though. I tend to care more if it's like 1900 to now. Just because, what the fuck do you mean 1600, girl? I can't. I will go back that far, but. Okay. What am I saying? Religion. That's my favorite, historical thing to look at. Is, religious history and the way that religion has shaped history. Okay. Intro, because I'm 1000% sure that I'm going to talk about religion more on this page. So, what is my religion? My most frequently asked question. What's my religion? Because I will talk about God and my belief in God. My belief in God is probably the most important thing in my life, my relationship to God. It's also something that I don't necessarily feel the need to involve anybody in. My relationship to God is very much my business and is precious to me, and it doesn't concern anybody else in my head. I don't ascribe to any specific faith. So I'm not Jewish, I'm not Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Hindu, I'm not Buddhist. I'm God's child, girl. That's what I know for sure. I believe in a singular God. I believe in evolution. What else? Oh, I use he, him pronouns for God. I think that upsets people sometimes. I've seen some comments on some videos before where they're like, you still have some things to work through if you're calling God he. If it makes you feel better, my God doesn't wear any pants, girl. My God uses all pronouns, but I address God as he, him. It's not that serious for me, okay? To that part, the how do I refer to God? I say he. Anywho, that's my religion. So, do I believe in Jesus Christ? I believe that the human, yeah, probably existed. Do I believe that he was God on earth? Mm-mm. Do I believe in the biblical miracles? Do I believe that God is capable of miracles? Mm-hmm. However, not I don't because my relationship to God is the most important thing in my life. I understand that I am not unique in that feeling. This is the case for many people of belief, whether you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, etc. I definitely strictly focus on Abrahamic religions, like the three: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So I try to be very respectful when I talk about religion, no matter which of the three I'm discussing, because I understand how important it is to me. Therefore, it's important that understand how important it is to y'all or to whomsoever. I believe, yeah, in miraculous things and in the awe, what? You can't even fathom. To me, creating life, like pregnancy, that is a miracle in my head. You know what I mean? Because what the fuck? How, so many things have to go right. That is miraculous to me. Do I believe in the parting of the Red Sea as a literal thing? I do not. I do, however, believe that all holy texts, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, they're all right there on my bookshelf. Can I tell you something? the Book of Mormon is on the other side of the bookshelf, but it just felt crazy for me. Sorry. Listen, I try to be very respectful of everybody's religion. Again, if your religion was made after 1900, I struggle. That's tea. I prefer my history more modern, but I prefer your religion ancient. Wow. I learn something about myself every day. I swear to God. I think that I am familiar with 3 books. I've read them: Torah, Bible, Quran. They are all brilliant examples of how you should live. They can all be summarized the same. Like if I had to tell you one sentence to summarize the entire book of Torah, Bible, Quran, it is belief in God and loving thy neighbor. It's literally being a good person. For me, sometimes I have been asked, well, how do you know what is good? What is good if you don't have a book? I struggle with this question because what? Because I struggle with how to answer it without sounding rude. For me, I don't think, I think the majority of people don't need a book to tell them, like, hey, don't kill anybody. You understand what I mean? I don't think that people are like, I'm not going to murder anyone because my book says so. Like, no, I just think that we inherently know right from wrong. I think that sometimes knowing right from wrong, depending on the situation, gets a little sticky. But for the most part, it's pretty clear what's the right thing and what's the wrong thing when it comes to giant shit like that. What else? Very good examples on how you should live life. For example, Jonah and the whale. Do I think Jonah was literally in the belly of the beast, in the belly of a whale? I don't, unfortunately. God bless. And if you do, that's fine. That affects my life. Your belief that biblical miracle, your belief that somebody literally walked on water, literally multiplied fish, that affects my life 0%. Do you? Okay. I believe, perhaps, it is a beautiful metaphor. In my belief, it is a beautiful metaphor. And again, I'm not discrediting anybody who thinks, no, this is legit and real. I'm saying that these books have value even if you don't believe in that faith or that religion. Can you be entirely consumed by something? Can you be consumed by all darkness? Perhaps it's something like addiction. Perhaps it's something like depression. And then be able to find salvation, be able to come out of that alive. That's Jonah and the whale. To me, I think the reason that I love religion so much is because it's a universal experience. I think if you're born rich, if you're born poor, if you're born, you know, no matter where you're born, who you're born as, who you're born to, what, everybody on earth thinks, what happens when I die? Why do good things happen to, or excuse me, why do bad things happen to good people? Everybody has these questions. You know what brings us solace about those questions? Or what eases our mind with those questions? Faith, religion. So I am also not somebody, I am not a fan, equal both ways. I don't like when religion is pushed onto me. I understand perhaps it's coming from a good place, but I'm fine. Once again, my relationship to God is not your business. Or like it's not something that you should find yourself trying to meddle into. I'll tell you what I want to tell you. That's it. I don't like that. I also don't like the flip side of that when people are like, how can you believe that? You believe that? Don't do that. It's ugly as hell to me. My grandma, mom's mom, well, both my grandmothers, very Catholic specifically, but deep in their faith, you know? My mom's mom had a rough intro to this life. You understand? Her dad didn't give a shit about them. He left his kids. Her mom died really young. When my grandma was super young, her mom was dead. She had a kid out of wedlock in a third world country in the 50s or something. Like, rough. And she leaned on God very much. Who am I to be like, you actually think that? That's evil shit. To try and talk somebody out of the one thing that brings them solace. And also, I think a lot of times people who suffer on earth in life, religion and the belief in an afterlife, the belief that after this is paradise, allows them to keep going in life. Because if that's not true, if there is nothing after this, if there is no heaven, if this book isn't true, then there are other people on this earth who literally are just sitting here and letting me suffer through life while they don't. Then literally people just don't give a shit about me. There's nothing and no one who gives a fuck about my suffering. So why am I like, I'm not in the business of trying to talk somebody out of what they believe. That shit is corny to me. Okay? Make no mistake. I also overstand. Religion is supposed to, in my opinion, God, not religion, God is all good, is just pure goodness and love and excellence. So to use God as a weapon against another, no matter which religion you are, and no matter how you're using it, if you're using God to say, this is why I need to treat so and so like this is why I am anti gay people, this is why it's okay if we kick these people out of their homes. Girl, to me, those things are inherently at odds. And that is, to me, the definition of using God's name in vain. Because you are using the name of God to do something that is not good. And if it's this much good, but it's this much bad, because God is all good. So that makes no sense. And it's no good. I don't like that shit. Is that all I have to say for this part? Let me think. Dog, I gotta get on a schedule for these. Better luck next time. It's been a few days since I recorded that part. But here I am now, drinking my morning coffee here. What were we talking about? Religion, probably. Definitely. Here's my tea. I think all religion, or at least the three, at least the Abrahamics, can be equally life changing, amazing, beautiful, wonderful, fantastic, can produce unbelievably godly people, people who truly, act as if they are people of the book. And also, I think all three Abrahamics equally are capable of being used as a weapon, being used for bad, being used in a shitty way. So I am not like, for me, it's not my, I don't want to, put myself in a certain category. I mean, beyond that, the number one part of, I don't, you know, God bless, I don't take them to be literal. I don't take them to be historical accounts. Again, I think they can all be used as beautiful messages. Another part of my, like, personal, my relationship to God, or my faith, I guess, is I believe in, like, the way I know how to put it is I and I, but that's like some Rasta thing. The Quakers believe in it too. That like I think people, unless no funny shit, unless there's like a neurological issue, it's something your wires in your brain are off. I think people are not born inherently bad. I think people are born good, clean slates, you know? Like I don't think people are just fucking bad people. I think a lot of when people are not great, porque, like what happened? Why are you this way? But I don't think people are inherently born bad. I and I person is like the goodness, the God that lives within all of us. Not saying that we are all of us are God, but I think like when people talk about like the messengers of God, in the Abrahamics, they're talking Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, people like this. Um, I don't know. I guess I think all people are capable of. Um, I don't even know how I want to word it. Of bringing people to God, of doing godly things, of things like this. I don't know. My whole shit is this. When I die, I want to die feeling like, oh, you did good, bro. Like you did what you were supposed to do while you were on this earth. God and my parents would be proud. That's it. That's my tea. That's all I really want. And so I think that's like, you know, the important thing is just doing what you know is right. And that's always like something I kind of struggle with, not doing what I know is right, but like when people are like, well, how do you know what's right if you don't have a religion? The fuck do you mean, dog? With all due respect. If a big animal steps on a smaller animal's paw and the smaller animal says, "Arr!" And the big animal and the small animal are like homegirls, like my two dogs, the bigger one is going to be like, oh shit, you okay? Like even animals know, like, ooh, you understand what I'm saying? So yeah, hang on. I feel like I wrote a few things down that I was like, oh, I talk about this self. I don't know where they are, sister. Told you. We're sitting here having my morning coffee. What time is it even? I don't know. Probably like 9:30. A ver. Hang on. I'm fucking good, bro. Hmm. The area that I have grown up in my entire life is called the Bible Belt. It is, I would say, the most Protestant area on earth. Like Catholic, I live in the United States South, which if you look at the US, it's on the bottom right hand side. The South isn't anything like to the left of Texas. What the fuck? Arizona, what you doing? No, this is the South, bottom right. Very Protestant, meaning not a lot of Catholics and thing. A whole lot of evangelical Protestantism, um, like Southern Baptist, things like this. In more recent years, I have been hearing this term Judeo Christian values. This term gets under my skin real bad because to me, what this is essentially saying is Judaism and Christianity are similar, Islam is in a whole other category of its own. Again, I don't have any biases to any of the three. I don't think, at least. I ain't a member of any of the three, but I think that's fucked. Excuse me. I don't think that's right to say Judeo Christian and then Islam is way over here. What? First of all, what you mean? So then what's the values of Islam? How are the Jewish and Christian values so different than Islam? They're not. And then there's always going to be somebody that thinks they know something about something. And they're like, well, jihad. First of all, define that, goofy ass. Hang on, stick a pin. I was 5 years old when 9/11 happened. I am not saying that I grew up hearing Muslims are scary and bad, and you should always be scared of Islam, and this is a bad religion, and this is bad, 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 bad. It's not that overt. It's not that, you know, spelled out. But when you say shit like Judeo Christian, and when my whole life we've been bombing the shit out of one area, an area that's heavily Muslim and heavily Arab, and those two things are often presented to us as if they are the exact same, like as if they are the same. There are plenty of Muslim people who are not Arab. There are plenty of Arab people who are not Muslim. My great grandfather, Arab, Christian. Allegedly, he fucking left his kids. You know what I'm saying? So like Christian or something. Um, but I feel like little things are done to try and make it like, oh, scary. I grew up during the War on Terror, whatever that fucking means. Um, okay, so like for example, we're all over the place in this video, sister. Don't worry about it. Um, Jihad. Whenever people hear that, they're like, "Oh my god, you're gonna fucking wear a vest full of explosives," and it's like, "Oh, why?" Jihad is like the struggle to do what is right, the battle of doing what is right. So I think there's like a few different types of jihad. I have heard women say that wearing hijab is their personal jihad, meaning like if a woman is Muslim, again, I ain't sitting here to. I don't need to think. I don't give a fuck how you feel about a woman wearing a hijab if you, especially if you're not Muslim. Definitely if you're not Muslim, shut that shit up. Like their faith ain't your business. Again, everyone's faith is their own personal thing. That's why this woman says it's her own personal jihad. It's her own personal struggle. Imagine you live in the Western world. You live in the United States of America. It's 2003. The news has trained us to be scared of people who look like you. But the book that you believe in, your faith, tells you of the importance of wearing hijab. So your battle internally is to wear hijab, even though, oh my God, well, what could come in this earthly world? You understand? Like what could happen? I do this to appease for God. I do this for God. However, this is real shit, a danger. Like in terms of man, you dig? I have heard somebody say, and this shit broke my heart, that their jihad is being gay. Again, I personally, I don't think God makes mistakes. I don't think being gay is a choice. Why do you say that? Well, how can you say that? Because I say it like this. Because I got bitches on my body. Okay? Honeys love Kate. And I don't yike them. Like, love you, sister. But not like that. That's how I know that's how I know being gay is not a choice. Because I would have a roster of baddies. Unfortunately, I long for the embrace of a man. Um, not long. You understand. Bitch, I'm straight. So I don't think that shit is a choice. And like, if you're a man sitting there watching this right now, and you're like, yes, it is. Go suck cock. Sorry, but like, you can make yourself desire that shit right now. No, you can't. Shut the fuck up. Like, it's simply not. You think these people choose to live a life where they get discriminated against and get fucking outcasted from their family? Please. But again, I've heard somebody say that, and based on the way they have been taught and based on the way they believe, it is wrong, which that hurts my feelings. You know, it makes me sad that this person feels this way. But I've heard somebody explain jihad like that. So I just think that we, the Western world, the Western media, throws words around to try and make you scary about Islam. You know what? No, funny ish. If I am biased towards a religion, it's Islam. I'm not Muslim, but they've demonized Islam, in my opinion, in the Western world, or tried to. It's a way to like manufacture consent of what we've been doing in the region. What's that mean? Anytime we want to go bomb the fuck out of a country, Iraq, Iran, whatever, they're like, look how they treat their women and girls. What Israel is doing to Palestine right now. You know, if you were gay, they would throw you off a roof right now. Look at how they do. They're so backwards. They're so Mm? They say these kind of things to you so that way you're like, okay, cool, let's go bomb them into freedom. Liberate yourself, sister. Rip her hijab off. That's not how that works. Like, that's never how that goes. What? Um, but that's always the thing, is that they'll do some kind of ish like that. For example, the United Arab Emirates is our ally in the Middle East. They're currently funding a genocide in South, or excuse me, they're funding a genocide in Sudan. Israel is basically the United States, our ally in the region. They're actively doing a genocide to the Palestinians. We don't give a fuck if you're killing women and kids, but if you don't fall in line with what the United States wants you to do and you're killing women and kids, we're going to talk about you killing women and kids so that way we can come in and force you to fall in line. If you're falling in line and also fucking oppressed people, no problem. Like, we're not going to say anything about it. We, the United States. That's bullshit when they try and do that. When they say, like, oh, look at the society. Shut up. Another thing that blows me. Hang on, bro. My coffee's about to get cold as hell. Ah, I was listening to the news, and I think it was Lindsey Graham, who is the reason that I say Israel as Israel, because that's how he says it. Israel. Anyway, he's like a super. He's just a war hawk, really. He just yells war and shit. Um, because it ain't like there are some people, politicians, that are funded by like. Okay, there's a whole group in the United States called Kufi, which is like the Christian Organization for Israel or the Christian something for Israel, Christians United for Israel, something like this. And they love Israel and refuse to acknowledge anything that Israel can do no wrong in their eyes, because in their head they see Israel as the one that's written about in the Old Testament. Wrong. Not the same, babe. At all. At all. So, but the Christians for Israel, it's usually like a Christian national evangelical doomsday type beat, where these people are very preoccupied with the second coming of Christ, with the ending times. And according to, what's the last book of the Bible? That one? Revelation, I think. It talks about, like, the second coming of Christ and how the Hebrews will be in control of Jerusalem. So, it said that, with all due respect, in a book written about 3,000 years ago. And so now, 3,000 years later, this country that was made like 87 years ago, Israel was declared a thing about 80 some years ago. These people are like, dogs, same Z's. No. So they think the Hebrews, meaning Jewish people, need to be in charge of Jerusalem in order to bring about the second coming of Christ. However, these people who believe this way also believe that the only way to salvation, meaning the only way that you're going to heaven, is if you believe in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. I struggle with that deeply because I think that there are many people, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, who don't believe Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior, but are in fact excellent people who have done wonderful things on this earth. And the only reason that they're not going to heaven is because they don't believe in Jesus. I don't love that. And if that's the case, girl, send me to hell. Sorry. That's crazy. Like, I don't believe that at all. And I also think it's wild that people feel themselves feel emboldened to the point that that they feel comfortable enough telling people literally that, telling people like, bro, I'm trying to save you. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're hellbound. Like, oh my god, did you just tell me I'm going to hell? That's crazy, bro. Like, to feel so confident that you can just tell somebody, like, listen, you were a vibe on earth, but it sure is a bummer I won't see you in heaven. Fucking Jezebel spirit. Like, oh my god, not too much. That's buck wild. Sorry, but it is, in my opinion. Also, low-key a cop out. You know how many people find Jesus after they are sentenced to like life in prison for rape and murder or something? So they're going to heaven because because they believe in JC. But somebody who does not rape and murder, but also does not believe in JC, but is a consistent good person their whole life, they're not though. What a shit! They might as well just be like, yeah, 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 Jesus, in the last minute. Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I feel like I'm tiptoeing a line of disrespect towards Christians, and I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to. I'm sorry, 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 sorry. Um, Pero, yeah, hang on. Oh, back to Islam. Again, I think because it's been so like stigmatized in things in the United States post 9/11, blah blah blah, war on terror. It's been so like and in the South, like we do not have a large Muslim population at all. So, very much demonized. Therefore, I'm nosy and I'm like, all right, well, let me learn everything about it, bro. Hello? Like, don't tell me to be scared of something if you can't even tell me what it is. That's one reason I'm very fascinated by Islam. And because Islam is the most recent. So, there are certain things in Islamic history, specifically like following the death of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, uh, that like I don't have to rely on any religious text or religious narration because it was recent enough that it's like there's historical data. I value that as well. And I think that's also a reason why I'm fascinated by it. I don't really know what else I need to say in this here video. RE Relig. I just know that if there's one thing about me, I'm going to talk about religion. So I just wanted to kind of set the scenery, set the stage for where I'm coming from. RE Religion. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it has the potential to be such a beautiful thing. It also has the potential to be such a dark and not great thing. But I understand its importance to people. I focus heavily on the Abrahamics because 60% of the world's population is Christian and Muslim. I don't have a name for my faith, and I know that it's the most important thing in my life. Therefore, I assume if you have a name for yours, it's probably also at least top three most important things in your life. So I need to know what you got going on. You know? That's me. I think we're just gonna do a short one this time, gals, which is crazy because I don't even know when I posted the last video, but fuck it, bro. What are you gonna do? Beat my ass? I'm gonna try and get on a better schedule about these. Pero, yeah, appreciate ya. Thanks for hanging out. Subscribe if you haven't, please. Thank you. Um, I need to be at 10K subscribers for this thing to be monetized, so I would very appreciate if you would subscribe, or I can get paid. Let me just be honest with you. But yeah, have a great rest of your day. Love you real bad. Talk to you.